There is a question that has quietly followed humanity through every century, every civilization, and every quiet moment of self-reflection. It surfaces in the middle of the night when the noise of daily life fades away. It appears at the edges of grief, at the peak of achievement, and in the ordinary Tuesday afternoons when nothing particularly significant is happening. The question is simple in its structure but enormous in its weight. Do you need God to have purpose? Not do you need religion? Not do you need a church or a temple or a set of rituals, but specifically, do you need a divine creator, a cosmic architect, a being of ultimate intention to give your life genuine meaning? This is not a question with an easy answer, and anyone who tells you otherwise is either not thinking hard enough or has stopped being honest with themselves. What makes this question so fascinating is that it sits at the intersection of philosophy, neuroscience, theology, and lived human experience. It touches something that every single person on this planet has wrestled with, whether they acknowledge it or not. So rather than rushing toward a conclusion, the more valuable thing to do is to sit with the question, turn it over, examine it from multiple angles, and let the tension between the different answers teach us something real about what it means to be a conscious being. Searching for significance in a universe that does not hand out explanations. Before diving into whether God is necessary for purpose, it is worth slowing down to ask what purpose actually means. The word gets used constantly, but its meaning shifts depending on context. There are at least two distinct ways people use the word purpose. The first is what philosophers call cosmic purpose or objective purpose. This is the idea that your life has a meaning that exists independently of what you think or feel about it. It is a meaning written into the fabric of reality itself, a sign from outside of you, something that would be true even if you never discovered it. The second kind is subjective purpose, the sense of meaning that arises from within a person, from their values, their relationships, their goals, and their sense of contribution to something larger than themselves. These two definitions lead to very different conversations. If you are asking whether God is necessary for objective, cosmic, externally assigned purpose, then the argument becomes much more philosophically loaded. If meaning must be written into the universe from the outside, then yes, some kind of intentional creator seems logically required. You cannot have a letter without a writer. You cannot have a design without a designer. The logic here is not unreasonable. If the universe is purely material, if it is just atoms colliding according to physical laws with no intention behind any of it, then there is no external author assigning your life a role in some grand narrative. That is the honest implication of a purely materialist worldview. But if you shift to subjective purpose, the conversation changes dramatically. Subjective purpose does not require an external author. It requires a conscious being capable of caring, valuing, and committing. And human beings are extraordinarily good at all three of those things. Some of the most compelling arguments for a life of deep purpose without God come not from cynics or nihilists, but from people who have thought seriously about what it means to live well. Philosophers like Albert Camus argued that the absence of cosmic meaning is not a tragedy to be mourned, but a reality to be confronted with honesty and even a kind of defiant joy. Camus believed that humans create meaning through their choices, their loves, their rebellions against suffering, and their commitment to one another. He called this the absurd, the tension between our hunger for meaning and the universe's silence on the matter. But his response to the absurd was not despair. It was engagement. It was the decision to live fully and passionately in the face of uncertainty. Beyond philosophy, evolutionary biology and psychology offer their own account of purpose. Human beings evolved as deeply social creatures. Our sense of meaning is wired into our neurology. Studies in positive psychology consistently show that people derive the strongest sense of purpose from relationships, from contributing to communities, from mastering skills, from raising children, from creating art, from alleviating suffering. None of these sources of meaning require a theological foundation. A parent who does not believe in God can still feel a profound and overwhelming sense of purpose in raising a child. A doctor who is an atheist can still experience deep meaning in saving lives. A musician who holds no religious beliefs can still feel that their work matters, that it connects people, that it adds something irreplaceable to the world. The secular case for purpose is not a consolation prize. It is a genuine and robust account of how meaning functions in human life. And yet, the theistic account of purpose deserves equal seriousness and respect. For billions of people across history and across the world today, the belief in God is not a psychological crutch or an intellectual shortcut. It is the foundation of a coherent and deeply felt understanding of reality. If God exists, and if that God is a being of intention and love who created conscious beings for a reason, then purpose is not something you construct. It is something you discover. This is a profoundly different experience of meaning. It means that your life is not an accident. It means that your suffering is not random noise. It means that your longing for significance is not a cruel evolutionary joke, but a genuine signal pointing towards something real. Many of the greatest thinkers in human history, from Augustine to Aquinas, from C.S. Lewis to Fyodor Dostoevsky, have argued that the very fact that human beings hunger so deeply for meaning is itself evidence of a reality beyond the material. The argument goes something like this. Every deep human hunger corresponds to something real. We hunger for food, and food exists. We hunger for connection, and other people exist. We hunger for beauty, and beauty exists. So why would the hunger for ultimate meaning be the one exception, the one desire that points toward nothing? This is not a proof of God's existence, but it is a serious philosophical observation. The theistic framework also offers something that secular frameworks struggle to provide, which is a basis for the equal and unconditional worth of every human being. If human beings are made in the image of a divine creator, then every person carries inherent dignity regardless of their productivity, their intelligence, or their social contribution. That is a powerful moral foundation. What becomes clear after examining both sides honestly is that the question of whether you need God to have purpose does not resolve neatly into a yes or a no. What it does is reveal something important about the nature of purpose itself. Purpose is not a single thing. It is layered. There is the purpose you feel on a Tuesday afternoon when you are doing something you love. There is the purpose you feel when you hold someone you care about. There is the purpose you feel when you contribute to something that will outlast you. And then there is the deeper question of whether any of that feeling corresponds to something objectively real, something written into the structure of the universe, rather than generated by your own consciousness. The honest answer is that human beings have found genuine, sustaining, life-changing purpose, both with and without God. The atheist and the believer can both live with extraordinary depth, compassion, and commitment. What seems to matter most is not the theological framework, but the quality of engagement with life itself. Whether you locate the source of meaning in a divine creator or in the irreducible value of conscious experience, the call is the same. Show up fully. Love deeply. Contribute honestly. Wrestle with the hard questions rather than avoiding them. The people who live with the most purpose, regardless of their beliefs, tend to be the ones who take the question seriously rather than settling for an easy answer. So perhaps the most truthful response to the question is not a declaration but an invitation. Keep asking. Keep living. Keep paying attention to what genuinely moves you, what genuinely matters, what you would give your life for. Because in that honest searching, whether it leads you toward God or toward a secular philosophy of meaning, you are already doing something deeply purposeful. So we want to hear from you now. Do you believe that a life without God can carry the same depth of purpose as one lived in faith? Or do you think something essential is missing without that divine foundation? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.